favorite desserts. In here I have 2½ cups of almond flour. Then you're going to need about 1½ cups of your favorite sugar substitute, a teaspoon or so of salt, and about 2½ teaspoons of baking powder. And you want to kind of mix those together. Sift it if you want to, but you know, we just want to make sure all those ingredients are combined. Now, I have here in my stand mixer, I'm using a stand mixer with the paddle attachment, but you could use the a hand mixer. I've done it both ways, and it does fine either way. I've got 6 ounces. Let me scoot this over just a little bit. I have 6 ounces of cream cheese and 3/4 cup of butter that I've cut into little cubes. And I want to whisk those together real quick before I do anything else. So I want to get that started. They should be at room temperature. Mine are not quite as good as they should be. Now you will need 7 eggs, and I like to just go ahead and slightly beat those. Just a little bit. Cut that up just a dot. You'll need your oven preheated to 350 degrees, or 375, excuse me. You will need a loaf baking pan that I've lined with parchment paper that I've also sprayed with non-stick baking spray. And let me show you a little hint. If you'll make the edges of your parchment or your non-stick aluminum foil, whatever you're using, if you'll put these little edges on there like that, it makes it much easier to get that cake out of the pan. Now, I want to stop this for just a second, and I'm going to scrape down the sides of my cream cheese and butter mixture. That's all that's in there at this point. Now I'm going to add the eggs, kind of slowly, about half of them, and then the other half. You don't have to totally mix them because the mixer, of course, obviously will do that. Now here we're going to add some coconut extract, a couple of teaspoons full. Oh, it smells so good. I'm also going to add some lemon juice, a couple of teaspoons or so, or just, you know, the juice of a lemon that brightens it up. Okay, you again can do this with your little hand mixer if you want to. I'm going to need that in a minute, so I'll put that there. Move my trash can. Now, once that has, you know, pretty well incorporated, I like to scrape down my sides, get everything off that paddle attachment. And I'm going to add my dry ingredients a little bit at a time on low. Where's my measure cup? Let me grab one real quick. You don't have to have one of these. I just makes it a little bit easier to add it. Add in like a spoonful of it at a time. Let that get mixed in, and then add another one. Just makes it easier. If you dump it all in at once, you know, odds are it may not fully incorporate. So I like to add a little bit at a time. Then when you get down to that last little bit, just pour that in. Then I have about 1 cup of unsweetened coconut. Now here's where you're going to have to be careful. Don't buy the sweetened coconut flakes that we commonly use. You will find unsweetened coconut. And I'm going to stir in about 1 cup of that. And that's it. Okay? Now, I like to go ahead and take off my little paddle thing and scrape it with a spoon just to make sure, or a spatula, to make sure you get it all. Oh, if you could just smell this. And then in your prepared pan, just pour this in your prepared loaf pan. Smells coconutty and delicious. And we're going to put this in a 375-degree oven for about an hour. This takes a little bit of time to bake, but oh my goodness, is it so good. It's even better the next day. Mine lasted a day and a half, and that was it. I absolutely love it. All right, pop this in a 375-degree oven for 1 hour, and then I'll show you how to test it. In the center rack, and it is absolutely scrumptious, because just because you're eating, you know, if you need to eat sugar-free or low-carb, or if you're eating keto or any of that, doesn't mean that you can't have delicious, delicious food. I'm going to clean up my mess here, and when I come back, we're going to talk a little bit about lamb. We're going to get that in the oven, and we're going to make my mama's most delicious pickled eggs. I'll be back in just a couple minutes. Okay, now our cake is in the oven, and we are going to talk a little bit about lamb. Now, in the U.S., lamb is not a meat that is eaten often, but my family really likes lamb. And so here I thought, you know, for a springtime meal, maybe Easter, maybe Mother's Day, maybe just a special occasion meal. We just haven't cooked it very much on the program. I think maybe I've done one or two. Anyway, so in the store you will buy a rack of lamb, and that's what this looks like. And it comes 2 of these racks to a package. The one I bought is already Frenched, but you could do this very same recipe with leg of lamb or with the little lamb chops. Cooking time would be a little bit different, but the rack of lamb, I'll show you how to do it. But anyway, it comes just like this, and this is called Frenched. That way the meat and all that is taken off the bone, and then the meat, the thicker meat part's down here, and then you can cut between the bones to serve. Now, sometimes you will find it does have a little bit of a silver skin. So I like to, you know how we do with our pork tenderloin, I like to cut off the silver skin just the same as I do with a pork loin. You just take a little boning knife or paring knife and get under there and take that off, because that won't break down and it gets a little bit chewy. So I want to take that off of the lamb. Sometimes the butcher will have already done that, but in this case they didn't. Now, I'm not talking the fat cap, I'm talking that little thin piece of membrane. Now, if you don't take it off, it's, you know, it's fine. Not going to hurt you, but it'll be a little more chewy. And I like to, if it has the little, I don't know the word for it, I guess sinewy type of thing here on the, where the fat cap meets the meat, I like to trim that down just a little bit. And I like to score the fat, because what happens is that will cause that fat to render down and make it a little bit more juicy. Let's do this one. Okay, this is just that little bit of a, this one has a little bit of silver skin, not too bad. And I like to bake it on a lined baking sheet, like what I've got here, 425 degrees on the oven. I'm going to score that just a little bit. Let that fat render and the seasoning getting down into the meat. Okay? Now, I will overlap the bones just a little bit, and I'll show you how to prevent them from burning. I have here in this bowl just some panko breadcrumbs, just, you know, approximately, I don't know, a cup or so. I'm going to add a little bit of rosemary, about a teaspoon of rosemary, some zest of a lemon that I've washed. Just the zest of one lemon is plenty because we're also going to use the juice. If you've never tried lamb, I do want to encourage you to try. There's New Zealand. It doesn't taste like anything I can describe. I mean, it's not, you know, you hear sometimes tastes like chicken. Well, no, it tastes like lamb. It's got its own unique flavor. Now, I am going to take some salt and pepper and add to my lamb, or my topping. And I'm going to take my fingers and I'm going to just mix all of that together. I'm going to have some olive oil that I'm going to drizzle onto the meat part of the lamb. And I'm going to squeeze a lemon, that lemon that we zested, half of the lemon on each one. And then I'm going to top each part, not the bone part, but the other part, with half of my mixture, half on each one. To serve alongside this asparagus with nothing on it but olive oil, 425 degrees, and I like to drizzle the top with a little bit more olive oil because that helps those panko breadcrumbs to brown. Now, in order, you're going to have to keep an eye on this. I'm going to let it go for about 15 minutes. Then I'm going to look at it, and if the bones look like they're burning, because they're very thin, cover it with just a little small strip, just the bones, a little small strip of aluminum foil, and go another 15 minutes. This will roast, depending on the size, anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes. So I'm going to pop it into a 425 degree oven. And I'm going to let it go for 15 minutes, then I'll check it and check on the bones. The meat won't be done in 15 minutes, but the bones, I don't want them to burn. Wash your hands. And then, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to clean this up. And when I come back, we're going to make a strawberry sauce for the pound cake. I'm going to pop the asparagus. It's just simple. I'm just going to lay this out. I'm going to cut off my ends. Let me just go ahead. The meat did not touch my board, so I've washed this. I'm not one to snap mine. I'll just cut about an inch, inch and a half off the ends. I line them up. Cut off about an inch or an inch and a half. Drizzle it with olive oil, salt, pepper. 20 minutes in the same oven as your lamb. So I'm going to pop this in the oven, clean this up. When I come back, we're going to make the strawberry sauce and my mama's pickled eggs. I'll be back in just a minute. Alrighty, now our lamb is in the oven, our asparagus is in the oven, our cake is in the oven, and I'm going to show you a recipe that is very near and dear to my heart. It's my mama's pickled eggs, and as far back as I have memory, Mama made these eggs every single Easter. I don't know why she thought they could only be made at Easter, because they're delicious. And to me, it screams a spring. Couldn't be simpler. I have here some hard-boiled eggs that I've just boiled and peeled and cooled a little bit. You will need about a cup. Mama never measured, but for this purpose, I'm trying to come up with some measurements. You'll need about a cup of cider vinegar, and then a cup of just sugar. This is actually one of Mom's jars. Now, she made her eggs in a gallon jar. I'm doing it in a half a gallon because I don't feed as many people as she did, but this is actually one of my Mama's jars. Very special to me. Kind of hard to get that in there. All right. You want to I add about a teaspoon or so of salt. That's a teaspoon measure. And I like to just whisk that together real quick, just to kind of get that sugar dissolved. You could use sugar substitute if you wanted to. Mama never did. Then I've got 1 can of sliced beets. That's why I've got on the apron today, because I don't want to stain my clothes. And I like to just pour the juice into the mixture, stir it again, and then add your eggs. I like to add about, if I'm doing a dozen, then I like to add about half of them, and then some of the beet slices, or you could even do all the beet slices. Oops, this is just canned beets. And then the rest of your eggs. And I do, if you need, have a second can of beets, because sometimes you will need it, and I do need the juice from that second can of beets. I use the sliced beets. If you want to add some more beets, go ahead. Or you could save those, put them in a salad, or I like the pickled beets, so they're really good. Come on out of there, buddy. Get into the party. All right. Then you want to make sure, wipe that up so I don't want to stain my board. You want to make sure that all of your eggs are covered. These are. If you need to add a little bit more, then I like to top mine off with some more apple cider vinegar, just enough to kind of fill up that jar. Put your lid on. This is just a pickle jar that she kept. She ate them all and then she kept them. And then set them in the refrigerator. You could use any container that you can seal. Set them in the refrigerator for about 3 days or so, and the eggs will turn. I've got some already done. And the eggs will turn this beautiful color, and I'll show you those in just a minute. So pop them in the fridge and let them set. And there's my mother's homemade pickled eggs that are just very, very, very special to me. I can so remember just years of her doing that. Now, we've got our coconut pound cake in the oven. Now, the way I like to serve this is one of 2 ways. If you can find some fresh strawberries, and oddly enough, my grocery store was out of strawberries, you could serve it with some strawberries cut up, or I just found a package of frozen strawberries, and I'm going to make a strawberry sauce. So I've got 1 pound of frozen strawberries that I've thawed, and I'm going to add a little bit of, this is the Splenda type sweetener, because I do like mine to have a little tiny bit of sweetener to it. Pop it in your blender. It would help if I plugged it up. Just plug it up, and then puree your strawberries. You can leave it a little chunky if you want, or you can puree it till it's really, really smooth. And I like to taste, that is delicious. You could serve that we were going to serve that over top of our pound cake. But let me just tell you, quick old thing you can do. Add a little bit more of your either sugar or, in my case, sugar substitute, some ice, blend that together, and you've got a wonderful little frozen strawberry drink. Absolutely delicious. We're just going to let that hang out till our cake is done. Alrighty, now everything is cooked and I want to show you. Now, the beets take 3-4 days, but this is what they look like, the beets and the eggs, the pickled eggs. These are Mama's pickled eggs. I did have some already made because I knew it was going to take a few days. So here are some that, and I wanted to show you what the inside looks like. It's just, you know, just a wonderful hue of a red color, a maroon color. They are fabulous. I've already eaten a couple of them. They're just so, so good. And the beets are too. And Mama would make these every single year. That signals spring to me. You can, if you wanted to take these and take out the yellows and make whatever your favorite deviled egg recipe is, and then put them back into the white part, the outside part, the white. Makes a great deviled egg too. So there you go. There's my mother's, Granny's pickled eggs. Mama was known as Granny. So there's Granny's pickled eggs. Here is our delicious, delicious, delicious coconut pound cake that is low carb, keto friendly, diabetic friendly with our strawberry sauce. And I forgot to mention with the frozen strawberries, make sure they're not sweetened. These were not. These were just strawberries that were frozen that I thawed and I pureed in my blender with some sugar substitute. And then I topped a piece of the pound cake, and you'll know that's done. It almost always takes about an hour when a toothpick or a skewer inserted in the center comes out clean. So good. It's even better the next day. I serve it alongside with some strawberry sauce or some fresh strawberries if you have them. Raspberries would be good, blueberries, anything you wanted. And I like to just top it with some frozen whipped cream. And so there's, or Cool Whip or something like that. And then here is our main dish. I just roasted some asparagus and with olive oil, salt, and pepper. That's all I did. And here's our lamb. Takes about 30 minutes or so, maybe up to 40, depending on the size of your lamb and how well you like yours done. Medium is about right for lamb. Just let it cool for 10 minutes or so, and then slice in between the bones into individual lamb chops. There you go, a quick and easy spring meal for you any day of the week. Thank you for joining with me, and I will see you next time on Everyday Manna.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. On the shore, dimly seen through the mists of the deep, where the foe's haughty host in dread silence reposes, what is that which the breeze over the towering steep, as it fitfully blows, half conceals, half discloses? Now it catches the gleam of the morning's first beam, in full glory reflected, now shines in the stream. 'Tis the star-spangled banner, oh long may it wave, o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. And where's that band who so vauntingly swore that the havoc of war and the battle's confusion, a home and a country should leave us no more? Their blood has washed out their foul footsteps' pollution. No refuge could save the hireling and slave from the terror of flight or the gloom of the grave. And the star-spangled banner in triumph doth wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Oh, thus be it ever when freemen shall stand between their loved home and the war's desolation. Blessed with victory and peace, may the heaven-rescued land praise the power that hath made and preserved us a nation. Then conquer we must when our cause it is just, and this be our motto, in God is our trust. And the star-spangled banner in triumph shall wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Josh with Josh Eason Ministries, and we're so excited about our brand new television show called Message in the Music, airing every Sunday afternoon at 3:30 p.m. beginning May 1st here on Living Faith Television. We're going to have a great time of worship. We're going to interview some very special guests, and we're also going to have a message that we pray will inspire and encourage you. So please be sure to make plans and join us, because we're going to have a blast. We can't wait to see you there.
Hi everybody, we have a brand new Everyday Manna cookbook for you. It's Everyday Manna's Southern Style 100